Yo, what's up, guys? So today we're actually going to be talking about why being sick is unnatural, and we can use this to um, show why a raw animal product diet is actually more natural as well too. I'm not going to get too much into the diet aspect since we're just going to be talking about being sick in this video. So basically, being sick is not normal. If you think about it, I don't know if you guys have ever been extremely sick, but over the last, I'd say 4 or 5 years, I've really noticed. Which is I changed my diet. So yesterday was actually my 4 year anniversary for that. But um, if you've noticed that when you get sick, the pressure that it puts on you, and if you think about it, how if you were to be sick out in the wild, it would be dang near impossible to survive, right? I mean, imagine you're in bed. I mean, you would have a community, but imagine you're in bed or you're laying down in your cave, your area where you have set up to sleep, rest, things like that. Um, and you weren't able to do anything for 5 days. I mean, you and your family would most likely they wouldn't survive. Like, you guys would starve to death, or you would be unprotected and things like that. But I guess you would have a tribe, so I guess it'd be a little bit different. But um, another point that I wanted to make too was that I can't really imagine like how sick the natives in these lands that got colonized would have been when they first were introduced to the Western diet. And I think actually Weston A. Price has some writings on that when um, indigenous groups of people had perfectly straight and broad jaws, like straight teeth. They had like perfectly straight teeth. They were white, very healthy people. But when they switched to a colonial diet, they ended up having a lot of issues. Their teeth were falling out, rotting. They were just overall degenerating. So, but yeah, kind of, I guess, jumping back to more the sickness aspect, being sick is not a natural state of being. Preventing yourself from getting sick, like for example, staying warm, is also something very important as well too, because that's where a lot of colds come from, because it's your body's immune system getting shocked, because when you are in a state of being like in a state of cold or being cold, you actually produce a lot more white blood cells, and your body's trying to fight off from getting sick, because the body, since we're warm blooded, obviously we don't want to be cold, right? I think that's kind of a normal state for animals, because most animals are warm blooded. But on top of that, you don't, yeah, it doesn't make sense. And we have things like hypothermia that people obviously get, which make people sick. um, so yeah, I can't really imagine how it would be like trying to survive out in the wilderness while being sick. Um, Being sick every year is something that had been normal for me, especially into adulthood. I noticed it, but I think as you get older too, the toxicity in your body ends up building up over time, and you end up having more consistent, I guess if you want to call them, cleanses, which I think is what your body basically is doing when it's being triggered into a state of sickness, right? It's trying to clear out all the toxicity of your body. It's going into a extreme state to survive and sustain itself through all of the unnatural chemicals and whatever kind of products that are being put into the body. So yeah, being in that state is not normal. A lot of those indigenous people too, they were going from raw meat and blood and things like that, and they were switching over into essentially sugar, a lot of carbs, bread, things like that. We also know that bread has like anti-nutrients in it as well too, that bind to minerals. So you go from the most delicious thing, blood, to bread. And yeah, so anyways, that's pretty much it for this topic. I think that a lot of what I'm going to be talking about on these YouTube videos, we can pretty much just go back to the basics and have a general understanding of life, which is really difficult for people nowadays, especially. Um, I know I definitely struggle with it as well too, but because we don't live naturally at all. But really, like I had said in one of my previous videos, that life is not as complex as we like to make it. We like to very uh, dramatize everything. So